Okay, I want to have a look at this diesel tank. So it's sitting there a while. I just want to clean everything off. That'll be the first port of call, right? So we've got our degreaser wipe. I have a feeling it's leaking underneath, so we're going to clean everything back. Get all that dirt off it so we can start to see what's what and where it's leaking. Clean it off, dry it up. There's a bit of a repair done before, as you can see. We stand the best chance of seeing where this is leaking. Clean the area properly. You can see where things are rubbing there as well, so it could easily be leaking there. The rocker cover stood as well after wearing into underneath the tank a bit, but it's not leaking, I don't think. No, I don't think so. So I'll do the same there. I'll wipe that off around there and dry it up. That's an easy fix if it is leaking anyway. There's a feeling it's somewhere just literally underneath there. Now just dry it off. Now we'll be able to see where that diesel starts hanging. I'm just going to go and angle this tank forward a little bit more so we can get a better idea. Best idea. Doesn't fall forward. No. So there we go. That will hopefully show up a drip or even just a bit of diesel hanging around, and we should then be able to see whereabouts it's coming from. So we'll just have a little look here now and see. My guess is there. You see that little bit of kind of copper looking thing? It looks a little bit different. That is my guess right there. So if I have to, we're going to have rubber pads under this, and they weren't under before, so vibrations are probably causing things to wear a bit, and you can see already there it was definitely wearing. So a rubber pad will definitely lift things up a bit and stop any more wearing and rubbing and stuff like that. So that's all we can do with that for the time being. All go down fag Tomaline. They were sitting there for a while. We'll keep an eye on it then every time we're walking past it there. We'll see what's happening. I'll return to this stuff. There's a few options here. I can retread it as a metric 16mm. It seems to be very strange. It seems to, I've a nice engine nut on it here, one that'll be inside the engine, and something about the tensile. These are a lot higher tensile. They're like the cylinder head nuts. What I noticed is it seems to get a good grip at the first few treads, but when I go down a bit more, it starts getting weak. So I'm going to try and put a washer underneath it, nice wide washer. I'm going to try and see if I can get it just to grip, because this was causing the last gear stick to wear inside. Just want to get a feel. It seems to be tightening. The treads look very good. I don't know why it was feeling like it was getting loose. That's tightening up nice there. So I'm going to leave that. I think that's the way to go now with that. There is a cut mark across it. I don't know what was going on there. I really like there was a cut mark there for a reason. I don't know where they're hitting it with, widening that slot, then widening the top of it with a punch or something to keep on the nut. But what was happening with the old gear stick was, when the gear stick was pushed forward, this was lifting slightly, and I was wearing the back of the ball down there. That's why I had to fit this gear stick, and this isn't worn at all, because you have to lift it to get it into reverse and S the way it should be. So that's getting a good grip on it there anyway. This one's good. That's about all I will go on them. But it just looked like, it felt like the treads are good for about the thickness of the nut, but when it went down any further, when there was no washer on it, it just started getting loose. So I'm happy with that now. I'm happy that's good and steady, because I saw before when I was actually putting it into gear, that whole plate was moving up. And that's not good. That's what's going to cause the wear. She gets stuck in gear then. So I'm happy now that these two parts are functional again. They can be removed if needs be to fill oil, and the gear stick is a lot better. So I'm happy with that. Starting to do a bit of stripping here, getting ready for splitting this. A little bit tight there with that. So we're just starting to take off a few bits, and I'll push it back then, whole tractor back a little bit more so that we can split it. I'll split it, I'll push the engine forward then, that's the plan. So we had all this off before for the throttle, all the throttle rods and all of that. So I didn't think at that time that we'd have to do anything more than simply adjusting the clutch, but look, you do the small jobs first, I suppose, don't you? So what I do with these engine, this is a nut now, it's the only one that's a nut, it's a stud, and that's the one you line up. But what I do with any of the bolts is I get a piece of cardboard and I put them all in order. It's just handy for putting it back on. Now, there is an argument here now, I suppose, for actually going and taking off all of these, otherwise you're trying to push back your engine and all of this is in the way. Now, it's only one connection there. These can be a bloody pig to get on, so I might be lucky enough, I suppose, to just even tie that on there somewhere, just to keep it out of the way. You'd hope then when you're putting it back in, it wouldn't be getting in the bloody way. That's all. Some of them can be right little pigs to get on. Now I'm sure I've screwed that off before. I will probably just screw it out to hell. Say it probably comes out handy enough. I'll get a spanner and see. Sometimes you're just better off if you can. I work on all these parts obviously in my spare time, you know, because I know they'll be used by someone, not myself, someone else. So I free everything up now. I don't have a whole lot of space in there to actually screw that off, but look, it will come off slowly. Sometimes this is actually the easier bet, because all you have to do is start it on the threads and take your time. Whereas trying to get it off that ball end can be a ball ache. So, and again, these are strange size. They're like 11/32. I don't have an 11/32 spanner. I have a socket all right there. Just one of them parts. It's like Ferguson outsourced the making of this part. I'm sure they did, and they put on whatever size they wanted to put on. So it just takes a few minutes to screw it off. Slow work. There you go. Once you get it started, then it starts coming off handy, and that'll make life easier. And of course the other end fell off it. So if we knew that, we wouldn't have to do that at all. But look, say nothing. There we go. Look, better off getting it off. And there's the bolt to hold it on. So we can keep that in one piece. But taking off all of the fuel filter as well. I know I said I wouldn't, but you know, end up bending things. So I'm just going to leave all of that there. Safest. Nice. Nothing in the way. So now we can go and remove our oil pressure gauge pipe. It looks like that hasn't shifted in a while. Sometimes you're better off taking them off the back there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off down there. I think it's probably the safest, and I can just literally push the pipe right out of the way. Messing around with them, you're going to break the pipe. So this is an important, must keep an eye on them as well, because I'm going to go making a little kind of a cardboard lad. So where can we see in there to the banjo boat? They can be a little feckers to see now down here, but at least at the end of the day you can clean it up, you can work at it. So I think the 5/8, but I will try it with 11/16. It's one or the other, I think. That's a 3/4, so that's not right. Try with 11/6. See, it looks like I thought they were 5/8. They're not. Okay, again, you have to watch that the pipe doesn't turn with it. Then you end up with a mess. End up breaking the pipe, or bending it, or kinking it. So there we go. Make sure the sealing washer's on that. And it's a lot easier now to push that pipe in out of the way. Just want it a little bit tight now. A bit of a bend in it there. Just want it just to get past. So just remember to do all of this in order, otherwise it gets a bit tight for pushing it back in place, because that radius rod there is pushing up against it. Anyway, we'll screw back in our banjo, because that'll stop oil leaking out. Well, it'll probably still come out a little bit through the hole, but look, won't be that much. Okay. Right. So we're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah. A lot of the other work is going to be mostly over the other side. We're down to just bolts there. It's going to be just removing the wiring loom. The battery's out, it's on charge. We have to take off the Kai gas tank because that's attached. That kind of stuff. So we'll get on to the other side. Okay, the Kai gas off. So we can take off this heater plug wire here. I like these ones because they bolt on rather than push on. It makes a better connection. When everything is right, that heater plug heats up at an awful rate. Now we take out the starter as well, of course. So we can now pull off our alternator connections. Okay, battery's disconnected. I want to, before I forget, give him a little squeeze there. He's just a little bit loose for my liking. Little pliers. Look, it was probably perfect, but I just like to see them high gas tank, you know, drain in the background. Just drain it back into a can so I can fill it back up again. So that's what I feel. Yeah, way better. Way better. That kind of stuff now is kind of stuff I just like to sort as soon as I see it. So yeah, we fitted all this and we put in great effort getting everything perfect, but I suppose, as I said, I didn't think we'd need to do that, only adjust the clutch, but no, it's dangerous there at the moment now, it's so hard to deal with there. So we're just going to go and do the right thing. Do the clutch. Okay, anything that's standing out there. Okay, so that has to come off. I'm just thinking, I'm better off just taking the whole thing off, that whole mushroom intake. Yeah, off the air filter, yeah, better off, it's handier. Get the wiring loom out of the way, that's a big one. So that's going to have to come off the starter, so we'll take that off first. Take the mushroom off first there. I think the handiest thing to do here is just to drop it at the U bend. It's the easiest to get to. It's the manifold I did it myself, shot blasted, cleaned, flattened all the connections, got all of the bad nuts off it there, and freed everything up in my spare time, knowing that one day it would be needed. Left it on the shelf then, ready to go. Quick rub of sandpaper on the gasket surfaces and away you go. I've done the same with the TVO manifold for 20 TVO Ferguson, and that is going to a man who needs it. And I have a lot more parts there stocked up, Ferguson 20 diesel starters to go through, for example. I'll get them up and running. Enjoy stripping them down. I have 4 20 TVO starters over there that I went through in one of the videos there, well, a few videos. So as I said, I'm going to put all these in order so I don't want to take too much off. There's our mushroom, so that's brilliant. Technical term, of course. The mushroom, the mushroom, as they say. Okay, now we need our 7mm on our socket, 1/4 inch, and that will zip off them hose clamps nice and quick for us. We're loosening them, we can't take them off till we fit this better original intake pipe. The one that was on it was in shite, so I'll loosen both of them, whichever one wants to come off is a-okay with me. Nice and loose. And then off at him, so 1/2 inch on an extension. We'll do that. I know this side of the tractor doesn't have as much light, pain in the ass, but I will be pushing it back a bit, and we will hopefully have better light. And I have the work lamp there as well, but I'm sure you get the idea what I'm doing. I just said I'd record. The downside is you're fitting this without a fuel tank on as well, and the mushroom. You have 4 fine thread nuts on this air filter. A little bit awkward to get them started sometimes. There was an awful lot of bits and pieces around the engine, and a lot of them are these bit distracted, like that. All the full coil gas system and the auxiliary fuel tank. Okay, so we'll go back on my manifold U-bend nut. Coarse thread, you will see, and she goes loose. This is the side pig to get started. So tight. You're better off actually not tightening them, because it does move back and forth on the bracket, and that gives you a bit more space. But you learn all this stuff over time. If you tighten up one side too much, there's a good chance you're going to make it harder to tighten up the other side. This air filter should be ready to drop there now. In a minute. That'll give us a load of space. 1, 2, 3 and 4 all out. Should be able to lift him out like so. Okay, might take him off. Give ourselves a nice straight run of things. Now we're all of a sudden starting to look a lot more bare in there. Okay, so let's start stripping this starter. I'm going to take a picture of how things are on it there on the phone reference. Always a good idea. Just to have. Well, that's self-explanatory, I suppose, a lot of it when you actually look at it. But luck will. Takes a second just to take your picture. Lovely. Have a work light behind us here. Maybe that will improve things a little bit. Maybe, yeah. Right. I shouldn't be taking off too much now, because I have a few nuts and bolts there I would like to, engine ones especially, I would like to start cutting into a piece of cardboard in order. 13mm. Modern metric, I think. 1/2 inch probably do it as well. A bit tight behind some of these. Okay. Main feed in from the battery. Then we have a push-on feed in the back, feeding lights and everything. Okay. My cable tie wasn't really in the best of places there. There we go. Now, try and keep that all in together there. Pull it out in behind the radius arm because the radius arm is going to be coming outwards. And so is our clutch shaft. Okay, so bam, bam, bam. That's looking good. We have a throttle rod here, so I think that was too hard to remove, if I'm not mistaken, and I had to actually screw it on. Screw it in. Too hard to remove from the ball end. Yeah, so fun times ahead. But anyway, what I'm going to do is get a bit of cardboard, I think, and you know, roughly start putting in, have it ready for bolts. See straight away there's one there that has a load of washers behind it, so I've loaded them, so them engine bolts, and I'll measure what's needed by putting in a pick or something there, and I'll put the right one on. I don't like that. Okay, lovely, onwards and upwards. Right, one thing I've noticed is there's no bolt in the back of the starter here. It's very important this starter is running through, it's running straight, right? So what I'm going to do is, I have my box of engine, they're all the same thread for engine, right? So they're different lengths, they're all the same thread. So 11/16 head. So what I do is, the only thing that's going to fit into something like that, screwdriver is too wide, has the handle. So we put that in, let's give it a bit of a scratch against the side there, the starter, and drag it out. Let's put your finger on where it's after marking there. You'll see the little mark it's after leaving there, right? Just there. So that's our measurement. That's the amount of thread, well, the amount of shank we need, right? There. So then we go over to our deluxe extravaganza box here, tin tub, whatever you want to call it, and we pick out what is going to work best, because if you have it too short and you go tightening, it is only a magnesium alloy casting, you're going to end up pulling threads. So we have to take into account the width of the starter flange, and we have to take into account, we probably should put a washer on it. So at the moment that is looking fairly good for our mark there. You can just see the little bit of shiny steel, and you can see there. So that's good without a washer. A washer will stop that bottoming out. So that now becomes our starter bolt. Okay, very important. Keeps everything happy and running nice and smooth. Those gears are a little bit off down there. It's going to wear into your ring gear. It's going to wear the gear on the end of the starter a little bit quicker. So, right, I had to put that bolt back in because I wanted to keep everything nice and tight there. I'm going to do the same with this here, but yeah, I'll take it out. I wonder would the starter stay in with just that. We may as well get all of this done now, because these are the little jobbings that are going to make life a little bit more difficult. I want to put them back nice and smooth, just like the half shaft there. When you go and do your bit of prep work, it all pays off. This could be a little bit tighter. So someone's put in the metric, I'd say. Here we're after ringing threads, I'd say. Alright, so that's that. So we'll try the 3/4 socket and see if that get us a little bit further. If not, I'll have to go and get metric sockets. You have them there anyway. Yeah, I do. So 3/4 is the next size. Again, this doesn't really like. You have to take off our steering arm anyway. I might go and do that. I want to do a nice job on that and see what's going on. Someone after messing with that. Very possible. Has happened to me in the past. Sometimes these things just, engine was out and people just put in the wrong, but that's why it's important to get your bit of cardboard and put all of the bolts in the right order, because some of them are going to be, you know, a lot shorter. Like, you know, if you have that amount of thickness there and then down here you only have that amount, you can see straight away that, you know, this one here, it mightn't be going in as far, like, and that one is going further. So it's so important to get them in the right order. So when you're scrambling, when that engine goes, input shaft goes in there, and you're running and putting on nuts and bolts, I usually like to get this on first here. It does involve not even having the bracket, we'll say, not even attaching the bracket, just getting the nut on him as quick as possible. He's the most important, I suppose, because the engine will want to hang forward, so you just run and get a nut on him, don't worry about washers and all of that. So yeah, without talking about it too much now, so I'm just going to go and get a bit of cardboard and start at least having that ready. Right, so I think the best thing to do with this main throttle rod coming from the actual throttle hand lever is to screw off, same crack there. You can, they're a very strange size, 11/32, don't have, so I have to work with metric here, and they're already a little bit rounded, so I don't know. An 8 doesn't fit, and a 9mm twists on it, apart from one side. Anyway, we're getting it moving, and yeah, I'll show you there what I'm after. Maybe you can see there now. Yeah, that main throttle rod there, that's all I'm doing. These are all the little fiddly bits that are just way better off doing all of this now. I remember working out that this is the way to go here with this. Again, these, I always free these up, and I have them in the bench and I'm doing up the part. Put the lock back on that. I think the quarter inch does that. Just lock that back up roughly there. Yeah, that'll do. Didn't need to undo that at all. Doesn't matter. Okay, and we can do whatever we have to do to get out of the way. Okay, that's okay. So that's disconnected completely. That's our throttle disconnected. We have our piece of cardboard there. So we're going to bolt it on the nut there, right? Just a little bolt through it, because that's the only way of holding that. So we're going to start working. So we have to put in that. We'll look at it this way. I might put starter there so we know what way we're actually looking at the engine. So yeah, I think I'll go that way. So the next one here is going to be that one I'm after getting there for the starter. Lovely. So just going to get a washer for him, and I'll come back. I want to just try this bolt in there while the starter is still in there. There's very, very limited space in there, even for the washer over that one won't go in. So what I'll do is take off the washer for now, leave it there. Even that doesn't want to go in, actually, that tight. And now we're nearly wedged in underneath there. Screwdriver. So things are tight when you put the pre-engaged starter on the Massey Ferguson 35 4-cylinder one. Fit to a load of other things as well, but that was a common modification to get key start. Some people say that they turn the engine a little bit faster. So we're going to go with another approach here on with our extension, like we do for the inside stud of the diesel pump. Now we're getting spin on it there. So I just want to get a feel for that. Let's see. Right, let's throw this on here and just get a feel for it. She's biting it all. Normally, when they do bite, they go in really quickly because of the coarse thread. What's going on here now? I'll tell you what's going on. The bloody socket is too wide, would you believe? It's too wide, and it's coming off the actual bolt altogether. Not a good one. How in the name of God are you meant to tighten that up? I've one of these starters on my own tractor, and my own 20, and never caused that problem. Oh yeah, I see why. There's a big adjuster on it there on the inside when it's getting caught on it. My God. Not a good one. So I tell you what we're going to do with that, lad. We're going to put a longer bolt in. We're going to build them up with a spacer, so it'll be able to take a bit of weight. That's what we'll do with him. At least that way. Oh, I can get it out. Yeah. At least that way we're getting supporting it a bit. Yeah, I'll pick a longer bolt there. There's loads of them there. And we'll put a spacer on it, and it'll at least it'll hold it. It's all about keeping that starter pulled in tight there. So there's always ways around it. Until there's not, says you. There isn't this way in this case. So there's an adjustment in the back there, and it's normally on this side. I think it's on this side of my own tractor, and that's getting in the way of the head of the bolt. That's all that's happening there. That's ready to pull back out. Well, look, we're doing all the leg work now anyway. So that's all right. So we'll just pick a longer one. A longer one, says he, like him. We'll just try him and we'll see what happens. See, will he take a fancy to the treads in there? If he does, we'll put a spacer behind him, and we should be good to go with that. Yeah, we could very easily just put it back up, the starter back on the way it was now, with just 2 bolts holding it, but nah. Yeah, he's getting a nice bite there now. Then we just take a measurement of what spacer we need, and we bottom her out first, and then we take that measurement and put a marker on it there, loosen it out, and we know what spacer we need. Especially when the bolt on the bottom bolt on the starter looks like it was metric. I'd be a little bit worried, you know, about this starter getting a bit loose down the road and really damaging gears then, you know. That's tightening in there lovely. So there we go. We're bottomed out anyway. And what sort of a space do we have left? We don't be too fussy, you know. Okay. I'm going to put a scratch on that with a pick, and we'll be able to get a spacer. Okay. So okay. I was trying to think. God, it's interesting how to get that one. Put me scratch on there where I think it needs. It's going to need space or from and 2. And then we'll just have to have a play around and see what's there, spacer wise. And we'll grab one and fire it on, and it'll all be golden. It might make very little difference, but I can tell you one thing, definitely not going to make one. I think he said this came from some form of a BMC or something. But look, at least the bolt is getting a good bite in there anyway, and it'll keep this steady. There's a fair whack going to them starters now. Okay, so we've our mark on our bolt. That's ready to come out there now. Okay. yeah, so we've just our little mark on the bolt there. Have two scratch marks, and we'll pick out something that suits. Brilliant. That could be another problem sorted. We have our spacer med, and it's going right up to the mark that we put on it there. There's our mark. You can already see it. It's just literally sitting right on it. Couldn't be more perfect. I'm hoping that that's going to now work because that bit is sticking out. The spacer is the perfect width that it'll go in behind the starter, solenoid and all that, which is exactly what we want. So I just happened to put my hand on it, and it just happened to look like it's going to do the trick. So now I'm just going to go and screw it in and hopefully get a pull on the starter, and I can then say that that's done. And when it comes to putting it back together, it should be plain enough sailing. Okay. So we're getting the leg work done here now to hopefully make life easier for when it comes to putting it back together. Yeah, so look in there and see, is that going to catch it? Yeah, it looks like it might just do. No, we'll get a different space. There we go. That's caught it. Perfect. Delighted with that. Just one of them things, as I say. Apart, well, apart from a different engine. So look. We have that much done. Very happy with that. Might never cause an issue not having it there, but it's certainly going to help, and it's neat enough looking, and best of all, you can't even see it. So, working from the clockwise, so we have one, this is the second one, so this goes in there, like that. So now we can start taking off. I'm actually going to try and take off this lower starter bolt because, as I said, it looks metric. So we'll put on, I have a 19 here, 19 mil. We'll chance him and we'll see, does he fit? If he does, I have a feeling this is just bet into it basically. So we'll have a look and see what sort of threads are in there, what's happening when we get the starter out. But I just want to leave the bolt in above that. Oh yeah, we could have problems here getting that in there. Right, I'll get another one. I'll get a 3/8 drive on that, and that should be narrow enough to get that out. 3/8 drive. Yeah. Got a good grip on it anyway. This looks a bit metric-y to me now. A bit shiny, a modern bolt. Right. Now what I'll do, same crack, we'll measure what we need in there. And we'll get proper one in. So we need that amount of shank on it. That's too long. That's too short. And that just might do the trick with a washer. So we'll see what that feels like. Maybe they were just literally a bolt short and they decided to put that in, which could be Well, I just don't know about threads. We'll get a bloody feel for them here now anyway. The impact driver with 3/8 would be ideal. Just have a feel of it there without any washer. See, is it biting? Biting lovely there now. So let's see it bottom out, and then we can work out what sort of a spanner, what sort of a washer we need. Okay, so that bolt is just a little bit too long, but that's no bother. At least we know it's biting. Ah, look, it all just makes a difference, doesn't it? Look a lot tidier without all them extra washers and stuff like that. So that's a little bit too long, considering we have to put a washer on. So I just want to pick out another one of loads of choice here, thankfully. So we'll get one that's nearly the same length, and we'll see then what sort of how that tightens up. So we'll try this lad here. I just want to give him a quick rub of wire brush. Okay, so let's try this little bucko now and see will he get a better, will he fit better. No, he's only starting to bite, so maybe we'll have to use that other one. I can't see any middle size in between. Strange. Unless that is a little bit better. We'll try him. Just like to feel him bite a little bit earlier. No, well, I think we'll have to go for the one that's a little bit too long. I prefer that because it gets a great grip on it. Yeah. I might have a look in my other box. Bolts. Just for something a little bit in between, and I'll come back. I found this lovely thick washer. It's lovely and neat. I tried it on it. I found an even nicer bolt. It's in great nick. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to put the thick washer on, and it's just still a little bit, needs a bit more, so I'm going to put on a spring washer. Because again, they're neat, and when they're tightened up, they just look even neater, I suppose. When they're tightened up, they're even flatter. I just want to have a feel of that. It's not going to look bad. Definitely going to look a lot better than the big lump of washers that was on it there already. So to make sure that it's biting. It doesn't seem to want to bite now, which is strange. So I'm thinking now, yeah, it's full of dirty, that's definitely the threads in there were bad. I'm just going to have a look and see now. I might just try and use a flat washer. We're definitely going to be able to put something on it, because that is getting a bloody, just nearly a great grip on it. Now, that said, when the pressure comes on it, it might decide to slip. And I have a feeling that's what happened before. They went for a bigger bolt. So I get another flat washer. I'm just trying to keep all of this as tidy as possible. Okay, so despite my best efforts, the threads in there are bad. So they had to go for a bigger bolt. So I'll just put some neater washers on it and we'll hopefully be able to work with that. Pity, don't like admitting defeat. I thought it was just going to be a matter of going for a longer bolt that would find new threads. It actually screws in, strangely enough, it screws in very well. Bottoms out, but once you put pressure on it at all, like it has to pull the starter, it strips the threads. It is only an aluminium magnesium casting. So here's the original bolt, just with some more neater washers. So I'm hoping this will bite and grip and hold. Then when you think of it, with this bad bolt and no bolt in the back and only this holding the starter, it's not ideal. So we get this tight. It's important to get the right amount of washers on, because of course if this bottoms out before it tightens in the starter, and I keep tightening, it's just going to strip the thread, so that's okay. So that's about as neat as I can make it. 3 washers. Pity. Oh look, it's doing its thing. End of the day, I just want this bloody starter to be held in good and straight and snug. So we're trying to split a tractor, but we spend more time putting bolts into the bloody thing. And we're getting issues sorted. That's the most important thing. Now I'll be able to take the starter off finally. So that comes out. We get our bit of cardboard now, and we can put this bolt into where it has to be. So clockwise from the front, this is not the next one, it's the one after. So that's the one there, for the one that's holding the starter now, and this is the one for the big bolt. Okay, so now we're ready to drop the last bolt out of the starter. So we have to go back to our 11/16 socket and our 11/16 spanner, wherever that is after going. There. 11/16 should never be too far away from when you're at this game. This is going to be a fairly heavy part, so I'll remove this over here. Oh, there our spanner. Sit him on there. A lot heavier than the Ferguson 20 TVO starter, I can tell you. Gears are very good on that. Very happy with that. Red starter would be awesome enough either. Okay. A quick look in at the ring gear. I know we'll have plenty of time to look in there when we have the engine out. Where's my little torch? So that's that. There it is. So a quick look and see what my ring gear is. A little bit chewed up, nothing that we haven't seen before. There's the date of the engine, 18654, which is telling me that it's definitely not the original engine. No, the back end and the gearbox are within about 3 weeks of each other. So the engine should be in around that as well. So there is that in order. So now we're down to just bolts holding on the engine there. There's the washer for that stud there, we'll leave him off to one side. So it's still on the front and the jack on the, because I was oh, that's the job I want to do. I just noticed when I had the tractor lifted, because the starting handle was a little bit hard to get in. It's a sign that the bolts in the front axle, there, the radius arm, they can wear. Sometimes all you have to do is just turn the bolts and you'll then tighten them. And it can actually turn inwards or outwards. It can end up putting things off there. So what I'll do is I'll just try it. I tighten up like that. It just holds them. Yeah, too tight. But look, we got a bit of a pinch on that. Just the whole front axle can actually just start rattling in there as well. You know? You already know that we have to do a bit of work on this, where it goes into the foot peg there. So we'll definitely put our little half penny in there or something. And it's very loose as well, so that's the job for doing. The fact that this is welded on is going to make life a little harder. A little harder. But we'll get around all of that, won't we? Like we got around everything else. So this side as well here, we're kind of nearly down to the point where we can start taking off radius arms. I just want to push the whole tractor backwards, because I don't want it going into the second shed there. So we can let it off the jack. Push it straight back so that I can pull it, I can split it forward then. Yeah, I want the wheels nice and straight, front wheels nice and straight, so that when we split it, things want to go out nice and straight and come back nice and straight. So we'll push it back a bit there. Okay. Give ourselves plenty of room. The wheels are looking straight enough there. Check the tracking on this tractor as well, it's very good. So that should give us enough room for it's just a little bit off there, just to try and keep things as simple as possible. You know, it all just helps. Yeah, it doesn't have to be straight in the shed, just as long as the wheels are fairly straight, that has come. That's okay, nearly. Yeah. Right, yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. I don't think there's a whole lot else we have to take off now. Parts wise, just start jacking things up and putting in axle stands and all of that. So our throttle off there. It's our wire for the lights, that's all okay. The usual things you forget are like the oil pressure gauge pipe, and that is off there and it's out of the way. So we just have to remember to put that on or move it out of the way before we put on our radius arm, because it does get tight in there with the banjo and the end of it. As I said, it's easier than going to take things off there and breaking things. Okay. Okay. We can start thinking about these, and they can be a right pain as well sometimes, so we'll try whichever end wants to come off. This is the end we'll take off. Right, to get off the ball joints, what I do is I put in a big flat washer behind. I loosen off the nut towards it, that should push it out, and I give this lad a tap. I gave him a tap with the gently plasticky rubber kind of mallet to no avail. So now I'm going to get a piece of timber. That's better than hitting it with a sledge or a thumb. I'm going to hit it with a big hammer. That is solid. Tight, loosen them out another little bit. It's definitely pushing it out there, like. Right, we'll try it again. I sprayed it as well with a bit of WD. She's solid. If it ends up being an issue, we'll just go to the one on the front. So loosen out is what we want to do, not tight. You have to be careful not to go too far because you'll wreck the threads. There's only so much whacking you can do. These were really tight on the nut. No need for that much tension. Okay, so that's a no-go there. So maybe we try, well, that's no-go yet anyway. I'm gonna have to try the front ones, I think. I do prefer taking them off the front if I can. 19mm usually means aftermarket, and definitely aftermarket. Yes, they're on tight, right? Wow, that's savage. Savage. It's actually just spinning on it. And it is. These don't need to be that tight. It's actually spinning. I might have to go back to the back ones there. Yeah, she's just coming off. Twisting and coming off. Imagine that. Right. We're going to have to try and work with this one, so. Okay. Fair bead of rust in there, alright. Wow. Right, so we'll have to keep going with that side.